All right, kicking this thing off. So we got a really special guest, but I'm not going to introduce him, although I'd love to. But I'm going to let Team Boom's most recent Diamond coach, Sarah Korbecki, kick this thing off and lead this call because she's a born leader. So, Sarah, I'm going to let you run with this thing.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm super excited because I heard Tommy talk at our last Super Saturday. If you haven't been to Super Saturday, then go, because things like this happen. You hear super inspirational people talk that will just connect and move you in a way that you weren't expecting. So look, some facts about Tommy, which I asked him about earlier, not to boost his ego or anything. He's a husband and a father. He was a $50,000 winner with his weight loss story, and he lost 100 pounds with P90X. He's two-time elite top 10 coach. He was the 47th member of the Millionaire Club. He won the Leadership Award with the network. He's also the creator of the 5-step process and the challenge group system. He's a Success Club legend with 62 straight months. He has 22 lifetime diamond coaches in 3 centers. And he's been, which is probably his most proud accomplishment, 17 years as a high school football coach, coaching at the #1 high school in the nation. So Super Saturday, he talked a lot about his journey, and it was just very powerful, and you guys will hear when you hear him talk. But one thing I want to say is when he read all this stuff to me, he said, it's not what you've done, it's about what you're doing. All that shit is nice, but at the end of the day, I'm just me and just a small town guy trying to do things. So that gives you any indication of his character. So as of now, I'll just let you take it away. You look great. I can tell you've lost weight since Super Saturday. And go ahead.
Thanks, Rose. Well, you had to tell all 65 people that I said shit in my private message to you, didn't you? Well, and listen, and that's just honestly the truth. I mean, all that stuff is nice. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my 8 years with Beachbody. And at the end of the day, it's not about where you've been, it's about where you're going, right? That no matter how good or bad you did yesterday, okay, it's over. Does that make sense? So the great thing about that is this, because here's what happens to people. They'll have a moment when they're doing bad, and then they live in the past, and they let their past keep them from their future. They let their past become their excuse for not making a better path going forward. Or they do really great. They do really great. Everybody knows like the Al Bundy syndrome. I don't know if some of you guys are pretty young, but Al Bundy was all caught up in what he accomplished in high school, and here he was 45 years old and not doing too much with his life. And so that can also happen, right? That can also happen where maybe we have great success and we let that success make us complacent, and we live on yesterday's achievements. And I've been guilty of that at times as a Beachbody coach or as a man myself. So anyway, first of all, I just want to tell you guys, I'm really, really super honored that Sarah and Pat invited me to be part of your team tonight. As a guy who leads a team myself and has built a team from scratch, I don't take it lightly when somebody invites me into their house, right? And I want to respect the fact that you guys have all been putting in tremendous work. I mean, you don't get 70 people on a weekly meeting by accident. And you don't do that with just one person. That takes a concise effort from multiple people. And all of you guys have played a role in that. And so I want to tell you that I want to respect the fact that you guys are investing your time tonight. And I'm hoping that in something that I can tell you, you'll get something out of it. Just a little bit about me. What she said, I'm a small town guy. I grew up in a town of 9,000 people that I lived in until a year ago. Born and raised in a small town. And about 8 years ago, I was morbidly obese, really probably from my early teenage years all the way up to my early 30s. And 8 years ago, yeah, I'm 40 years old. I'll be 40 years old in a few months. So 8 years ago, when I was 32, I finally got sick of being the fat guy. And my buddy had seen the commercial for P90X. And this was before that had exploded. This was back in 2007, right before the whole P90X phenomenon kind of took over the world for 4 or 5 years. And it was his 12-year-old son, as they were watching the commercial, his 12-year-old son said, "Dad, I bet you can't do that. I bet you can't get as ripped as those guys." And this guy was my best friend. So he ordered it. And then he calls me up and says, hey, I know you've been talking about losing weight. You want to do this P90X with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just said yes, right? And so we started doing P90X. We did it for about 35 days. And then like many people, we fell off the wagon, right? We didn't finish that first round. I didn't complete it. I had lost 13 pounds, and then we stopped. And over the next 4 or 5 months, I put that 13 pounds back on. And it was 6 months later when my sister's husband, Randy, was dying of kidney failure, that I went to the Ohio State Transplant Center, and I went because I wanted to help Randy. I wanted to help my sister's husband and see if I could match him for a kidney donation. And they told me, you're too fat, your cholesterol's too high, your blood pressure's too high. And that's when I said, enough is enough, right? That's when I learned that rock bottom makes a really good launching pad. And some of you maybe on tonight, right? Maybe you're at rock bottom kind of in life, or you're at rock bottom in this business. You don't know, maybe you haven't done much, or maybe you're whatever. What I'm going to tell you is this: sometimes it's gotta hurt enough for you to make the choice that you're going to do something great. And so I picked up P90X. I had no idea what was in store for me over the next 15 months of my life. I did 5 straight rounds of P90X, and then they had the Beachbody Challenge. Well, back then in 2008, you could win 250 grand in the Beachbody Challenge. 250 grand, right? How many of you agree that 250 grand is a life-changing amount of money, right? How many of you right now, if Uncle Carl said, I'm going to write you a check for 250 grand, you would shit your pants, jump up and down and say hallelujah, stomp your feet and light a match, right? How many of you would do that for 250 grand? Okay? So, dude, I went all in trying to win this contest because I had a legitimate chance to do it. I became the finalist for my age group. And for 6 months, the last 6 months of this thing, I was so focused on I wanted to have a transformation that just blew people's minds, right? And I did. Honestly, my after picture is still your join button. So if you go to your teambeachbody.com website, your coaching site, if you look at the join button, that's me in my silver underwear. I don't fit in my silver underwear anymore. That was when I was about 7% body fat. But the point is this: I didn't win. There you go. That's me. That was my before and after with P90X. And you can probably tell by the smile on my face there. I get blasted over the silver underwear still. 7 years later, people are blasting me about these silver underwear. But anyway, that was my before and after picture. And so I went, and you can understand, I grew up in a small town, so I had never traveled. And so I win this trip out to LA for Summit. And back then, my first Summit was 800 people, right? How many of you know we have about 25,000 Beachbody coaches that are going to rock it out in Nashtucky, right? They're going to Nashville, Nash Vegas, baby. Hopefully many of you guys are going to be there with us. But my first Summit was 800 people. And I go up there and fully expecting to win. You got to understand, I have this warrior's mentality, right? Like, to beat me, you got to kill me. That's my mentality. I'm a Ruby. If you know personality types, I'm a Red, I'm a Ruby, and sometimes that gets the best of me. Well, I go up there and I don't win. I don't win. In fact, I got second, and I was so hurt by that. But one of the best moments of my life was backstage, and it was the first private conversation that I had with Carl Deichler, who's the president of our company, the guy that founded it, him and John Congdon. And Carl looks at me, and I'm watching Dallas Carter. Dallas Carter's this Hawaiian guy, lost 180 pounds, right? And he wins 250 grand. He's over here with this big check, 250 grand, right? And he's showing it off, and the cameras are going, and he's living the Hollywood dream. He's on the red carpet, check for 250 grand. I'm over here with this little tiny check. I did win 50 grand, so I can't really, complain about that too much, but I was still pissed. And Carl looks at me, and you got to understand, I'm a football coach, and so sometimes I get a little football coachish. And Carl looks at me, and he's like, what are you thinking right now? And I'm like just staring down Dallas Carter, right? I'm staring him down. I'm like eyeballs. I'm laser beams at this dude, because I'm like half tempted to go over there and start whooping his ass on camera. That's kind of, well, Carl says, what are you thinking right now? I said, honestly, Carl, well, I kind of looked down at him because he's only 5'5", and I'm only 5'7", but he's one of the few people I can actually look down at. I said, you know what, Carl? I feel like the other team just beat my ass, and they're singing the fight song across the field, and I just want to vomit. And this is what Carl said to me. Carl, and this is what great leaders do. Great leaders can take a bad situation and paint vision for a better future. And he said to me, he said, Tommy, if you do this coaching thing the right way, you'll make 250 grand every year, if not every month. And that's when it hit me, the real deep opportunity that we have with coaching. One, in changing other people's lives. It was my coach, honestly, I was the customer lead for my coach, right? So I went and I signed up and they gave me as a customer lead. Here we are 7 years later, my team generates enough volume to pay her $10,000 a week. Okay, so you tell me whether or not you want to be part of that customer lead program. You tell me whether or not you want to get your ass in Success Club 5 or 10 and be part of that, okay? Screw all this stuff of, well, I reach out to them and they never write back. And well, text them, call them, do whatever the hell you got to. Spend a friggin' $1 on Facebook to reach out to them. I did that this morning, right? I had this dude, he ordered Shakeology and E&E. I never heard his name before, so I find him on Facebook and it says, well, to get in his inbox, you got to spend $1. Now, you tell me, is it worth that $1 freaking dollar to connect with this dude? Hell yeah, it is. I send him a message. He writes me back. He's already lost like 75 pounds. He's all excited about Beachbody. He's probably going to be my next diamond coach, number 23, right? It's an exciting thing. But here's the thing. I didn't want to be a coach. At the time, you got to understand, at the time that all this was going on, I was the president of an insurance agency making around 60 grand a year, and I was very comfortable on $60,000 a year. I was paying my bills. I had enough money to play poker with the guys on Wednesday nights. I had enough money to go to a Tribe game or a Buckeyes game if I wanted. I was comfortable, okay? And you might want to write this down. Comfort is your enemy. Comfort is your enemy. Comfort will force you to settle for less than your best. That's what comfort does. So a lot of you that are on this call tonight, you're so comfortable in your current lifestyle because your plan A is paying your bills. Your plan A is already doing for you what you thought it would do, which is getting you by with enough spending money on the side that you don't feel like you're constantly broke. Now, maybe some of you do. I did feel constantly broke. I always had maxed out credit cards. I wasn't sure the $140 would come through. Right? It would go through my credit card when I signed up. I really didn't. I wasn't sure. I actually had to send a payment for $200 on the credit card to free up enough room to put it on my credit card. That's how stupid I used to be. Okay. Right? And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But here's the thing. For the first 2 years that I was a coach, I was so focused on the fitness side, and that's not a bad thing. Okay, that's definitely not a bad thing. If you're a fitness first person, that's how I came in. And I was so focused on really fighting the trend of obesity and helping people that suffered from obesity because that's who I was. I was really focused on creating awareness in my local community. I had strong ties in North Central Ohio. That's where I was connected. And in the world of social media, sometimes we forget about the fact that we have influence right in our own backyard, right? That we're always looking, we think the grass is greener other places. I went on a mission to get 300 coaches in North Central Ohio. That was my mission when I started. And right now, I have about 3,000 coaches that are within a 2-hour radius of that destination. Does that make sense? So understand, in a town of 9,000 people, we created a wave of influence that now has 3,000 coaches and tens of thousands of people every single year getting help. All right. And we've been blessed, but it wasn't until about 2 years in that I started attending events. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight, about the power of events and getting to events, what it did for me, what I've seen it do for other people. But Josh Spencer and I, we buddied up. He was not on my team. Okay. And he and I buddied up and we drove 6 hours to Chicago to go to our first Super Saturday event at the time. It was the first time that the network was having events. And so we went, and that was a life-changing weekend for us. That's when we really realized the opportunity of the business and what we could do with it. I went from not even knowing if I could make Success Club to finishing in the top 10 for that year after that event, right? And listen, if that's possible for me, some former friggin' stupid fat guy that was bad with money, that is a high school football coach making 25 cents an hour as a football coach and slinging auto insurance around his town, if it's possible for me to change and influence and impact tens of thousands of lives and earn hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and we do, And there's no doubt in my mind that at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be making 7 figures a year. And that's a mind-blowing amount. And I think this, I want you to write this down. We devalue the opportunity because there's such a low cost of entry. And I want you to think about this. Okay? Because this changed my life. When I first heard this is when my aha moment happened. And it only cost us $140 freaking dollars to partner with the #1 home fitness company in the entire world. $1 billion company, right? Who takes care of all of the marketing, takes care of the packaging, takes care of the research and development, takes care of the warehousing, takes care of the bill collecting, takes care of the shipping, takes care of everything else for us. And all we have to do, right, is be an advocate for that company and connect people to solutions that we believe works. That's it. And they pay us for that. And they pay us to do 2 things. Let me make this business really freaking simple for you. We get paid to do 2 things: retail and team build. That's it. Retailing and team building. So, right, we spread the word on the fitness side, and we have to figure out a way to get good, quality, willing coaches that will go out there and join our army, just like you all good people have done. All of you guys are good people, real people from real places that have decided to join arms and lock arms with our marching army of healthy living advocates. That's what we are. We are advocates for healthier living, and we partner with one company that we believe in. That's it, and they pay us to do that. And we should never apologize for the fact that we get paid to do that, right? I used to always hesitate to talk about the money side of this, but I'm going to tell you right now, as a 40-year-old man with a wife and a 2-year-old and twins on the way, because my wife is pregnant with twins, I got to tell you that it's nice to make enough money that you ain't sweating it. And not only are you not sweating it, but you're seeing the bank account go change. How many of you want that, right? You want the bank account to go change. Okay, well, here's the deal. Your paycheck with Beachbody will be directly related to how many lives you influence, how many lives you impact. And we impact lives 2 ways: directly and exponentially. That's it. Directly, we impact lives when we introduce them to the fitness or the coaching side. Those are the people that we enroll. Those are the people we sponsor one-on-one. But when I really got hold of the concept that if I went and built a team of people, that together as a team, we could help more people. And here's what happened. Jeff Hill, the vice president of this company, once looked at me and he said, "How many lives would you like to help?" I said, "Dude, I'd love to help tens of thousands of people." He said, "Okay, 10,000. How long would it take you to directly influence 10,000 people?" And at the time, you gotta understand, I was doing pretty good. I was enrolling 10 people a month, 120 a year. Well, you do the math. I'd be dead before I ever got to 10,000 people. I could never individually go and influence and enroll 10,000 people on myself. I could not bear the burden of the mission all on my shoulders. But if I built a team of 1,000 and we went and helped 10 people a month each, that's 10,000 people, not just total, but every month. That's when I started realizing exponentially that we do a greater service to people by team building a team of quality coaches that are out there spreading the word, right? That's why team builders get paid the most money. It's pretty simple, right? It's a pretty simple concept. Why? Because if you have a team of 1,000 people, more people are getting helped. And in the months when you're struggling, someone else isn't. Someone else is on fire, right? It's the same reason why ducks fly in a V pattern, right? Think about ducks and how they fly, right? They get in the V, and there's the leader, right? And so right now, within this organization, you have many leaders, but the top dog's probably Reelman, right? Pat's probably the top dog right now, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, and he's flying hard, and he's flying fast, and his head's against the wind, and he's out there grinding this sucker down. But here's what he needs. He needs another duck to step the hell up and take lead. He needs another person to get the wind off his shoulders. Does that make sense? You all need that. That's the power of a team. It's the same reason why, Lance Armstrong won the Tour de France I don't know how many times, right? But he was on a team of, I think, 5 riders, and they took turns. And the team's job was to protect the leader from the burden of the wind, just like ducks do. That's the power of team building, okay? That's why you want to build a team. So here's the deal, man. It's 8:20. I don't know how much time I have, but I wrote down 5 areas that I think are important that I can share with you. Hopefully something I say tonight is going to hit you square in the chest. I always say this. Some of what I say is going to go over your head, some of it under your feet, some of it's going to come right at your chest. I just want you to catch the freaking fastball that's coming at your chest. Don't worry about the rest. You're never going to get everything in one call. If you can get one thing tonight, take it and run with it. All right? Everybody in agreement they could do that. You could look for the 1 or 2 things that are speaking loudest to you. All right? So here's the thing. Yes, 4 years ago, our network needed a direction that we could duplicate and that we could teach and that we could teach others. I quickly learned this, that it doesn't matter what you do if you can't duplicate it. If you can't show other people how to do it, it's no good. And it made sense to me because as a high school football coach, it doesn't matter that I was first team All-State as a player when I played. The only thing that matters is how good I could get these kids to be for themselves. This business, the better that you understand this concept, the better that you'll do, because you want to do things that you can duplicate down within when you sponsor someone that they can reasonably do. All right. And so we came up with the challenge group system, the 5-step process, all the stuff that you teach, right? And at the time, it was actually me and Jimmy Nelson doing a lot of brainstorming, and we came up with something called Challenge in a Box. That's what we called it, which is now the challenge group system, right? And the idea was we want to be able to run a challenge group in a way that we could just hand it to somebody else and they could run their own challenge group with it. That's where the challenge guides come in. That's where all that stuff comes in. Now, here's what I'll tell you. The challenge group system it's a very simple business philosophy called expose, involve, and upgrade. And that's something I learned from Danny Johnson, who's been a longtime mentor of mine. Expose, involve, and upgrade, where we expose people to something, we involve them in it, and then we upgrade them. All right? And then we upgrade them. It's the same thing what do car companies do? Car companies throw up, pictures of the cars. They run the commercials. They expose you to it. And you might have to see that Camaro 18 times before you actually go to the dealership and test drive it, right? But then you go to the dealership, what do? They put you in it. They let you feel it. They let you drive it. They let you hit the gas. They tell you it's okay to go 110 even though the speed limit's 70, right? So you can feel the power of it. And then they upgrade you to a buyer, right? That's what car companies do. It's the same. This is a very simple business philosophy. That's exactly what we do as coaches is we expose them to Beachbody. We involve them in it. We let them sweat to it. We let them feel it. We let them drink it. We let them taste it, okay? We give them high touch involvement, okay? And we also give them the support that they need to get started the right way in our groups, okay? And I want you to write this down. Don't focus so much on points that you forget that you need to be a leader after enrollment, okay? That it's what you do with the person that actually says yes that matters. It's what you do with them. It's the type of relationship and trust that you build with them. Not just, oh my God, I got my 2 points and I got my $60 from the challenge pack. Yeah, I made Success Club and your job is done. Your job is not done. In fact, when I enroll people, I really don't care what they enroll with. I don't care if they got a burnt set of DVDs. I just want them in front of something using something that is ours that they can fall in love with. That's it. I don't give a shit because I don't care about the $50 or the 2 points. I care that they become a coach. I care that they become one of you that are sitting in a meeting, that are attending an event, that are locking arms with the army of people that we've created. So anytime I enroll somebody, I'm thinking long-term with them. So listen, all this stuff with, well, they got the DVDs at Amazon. Who gives a shit? Seriously, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's 30 freaking bucks. Don't be penny smart and dollar stupid, okay? Penny smart being that you're getting all kinds of upset because you lost $30 of commission when that person could be the next Tommy Mygrant making you 10 grand a week. Not 10 grand total, a week, right? You guys understand that, okay? So, man, I get fired up. I'm sorry. I'm a football coach. I know we got a lot of ladies. Sometimes I curse. Please forgive me. I can only be me. Let's just make an agreement right now. I'll be me. You be you. Are we cool with that? I won't judge you because you're playing on your phone while we're meeting instead of taking notes. I won't judge you for that if you don't judge me for getting fired up, all right? That's just how I am, all right? And every time I try to tell myself to be something different, it never comes out a different way. It always comes out like this. All right, so that's another lesson for you guys is this. Be you. Be you. Stop thinking that you need to be somebody else. Stop thinking that you need to be some friggin' pinup model on your cover photo in order to succeed in this business, because you don't. Hell, I'm a 5'7" former fat guy and have had a ton of success with this thing, right? You see what I'm saying? So stop trying to be someone else. But listen, the challenge group system is pretty simple, right? Start people out as challengers. There's a moment when they become believers. You guys understand that? How many of you started with a program, and that was your introduction to Beachbody? You started, you picked up a program, you did it for a while, you felt good in your jeans, and you thought, crap, this is great. And all of a sudden, you naturally just wanted to tell people about it, or you naturally wanted to share it. And so you became a believer. You went from skeptic or beginner to a believer, right? And at that moment, that's when, and this is where most coaches go wrong, is most coaches forget the end game, which is upgrade, right? The end game is upgrade. The end game is hey, you're becoming a believer. Have you ever considered being a coach? So write this down. Have you ever considered? It's one of the best things that you can ever use. Have you ever considered being a coach? I think you'd be great. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is just to get it in front of them. Everybody understand that. And there's two ways that you can go about this. Now, I use the challenge group system. I fully believe in it. Why? Because how did I start? I started with a set of P90X, right? And then I got results, and then I upgraded to coach. That's what the whole thing's based on, right? And probably 80% of our network came in that way. Versus like leading with the business first. This is what makes our network so unique in the network marketing industry. Is other network marketing companies always lead with the business first, and people only buy their crap so they can make money. That's it. Does that make sense? Where we are different is this. Our army of people are freaking believers, man. We're sold on Beachbody. We're sold on the programs. We're sold on Shakeology. If you're not sold on Shakeology, then you better check it. And listen, I wasn't sold when that first came out. I saw the $120 price tag, and I went like this. Screw you, Carl. I ain't buying your crap, right? That's the truth. And then I started coaching dudes that were drinking it, that had 100 pounds to lose, and guess what? They lost weight faster than I did when I was in my weight loss. And I was like, man, I lost 47 pounds that first round. These guys are losing 60, 65, and the only difference, I know they don't work harder than me, right? Because I know how hard I work. So the only difference was they were drinking shakes. They were drinking the Shakeology. And that started me on the believer. So then I had my mom, who was 62 years old, who was on cholesterol meds for 20 years. And I said, Mom, I know you've been on Lipitor for 20 years. Just do me a favor. I don't care if you pay for it or I pay for it. I want you to drink Shakeology for 90 days and then see where your cholesterol's at. And she did it. And her cholesterol went from 280 to 140 off of meds, right? And that's the moment that I was sold that it's actually the real deal. If you doubt that it's the real deal, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go get a copy of Darren O'Lean's book, Super Life, and I want you to read it. And I'm not a big reader. I'll be honest with you. I like to listen to audio. And we're going to talk about personal development too. But Darren's, I picked up Darren's book, and Darren's the guy that created Shakeology. And this guy has dedicated 30 freaking years to studying this stuff, to traveling the world. He's done work that you and I can't even begin to fathom in an effort to know what he knows. So you can get 30 years of what he knows in one book. I strongly suggest that you do that, okay? And in that book, you will become a believer. Right there, Pastor Kazik, I read that book, literally, and I got so hooked into it. And there's a lot of like medical and scientific stuff in there. I don't care. Get what you need from it, all right? But to me, the challenge group system is this. Here's what I do. I'm just gonna make it very simple for you. Here's what I do. Here's what I teach my team. You guys can take it. You can leave it. You can throw it in the trash can. I don't give a shit what you do with it, okay? It's up to you. This is your business. This is your team. All right, I'm just going to tell you how I operate. I build one challenge group a month, and I look for a minimum of 5 people a month to get started pushing play. I don't care if it's with a pack. Obviously, that's the first thing I offer them because I believe it, right? But if they want to start with a program only, I'm fine with that. I don't care. I want a minimum of 5 people every month to get in front of a workout, to get in front of Beachbody On Demand, to just be in front of our stuff. See, here's the thing. I know this. If they're in front of that TV, pushing a play button and sweating, here's what happens. Uncle Carl's a smart guy. It often takes, the 98% of people who buy or join take multiple exposures before they say yes, right? So when we give them one exposure and we get upset that they're not all in on it, we haven't just given, it hasn't sunk in yet for them. But if they're in front of that video and they're pushing play, every time they see a commercial for Shakeology, every time they hear Shaun T or Tony Horton or Shalene, or, you know, or the 21 Day Fix girl, Autumn, you know, they hear them talking about Shakeology. Every time when it's over and they're sitting there in a miserable sweat, they see a commercial for coaching, right? Who do you think is better at selling people on saying yes, you or the company? Who's better at it? Let's face it. You don't have to be an expert. All you got to be an expert at is getting them in front of it and letting them see it for themselves, because Uncle Carl has a $1 billion company based on advertising, marketing, and getting people to the point where they say yes. Uncle Carl also knows this. Uncle Carl, I call him Uncle Carl. That's Carl Deichler. So when you hear me say Uncle Carl, that's the president of our fine company. He's a man that I believe in, that I would gladly go Braveheart and go to battle for, okay? Uncle Carl knows this. Every time Uncle Carl, listen, I've had a lot of conversations with these guys to understand what they know, right? And I don't know 5% of it, but what I do know is pretty incredible. Uncle Carl knows when he shows an infomercial that he gets one buyer for every 2,000 viewers. He gets one yes. So he strikes out with 1,999 people before he gets a hit. And yet we're pissed because the 3 people we talked to didn't say yes. Right? It just doesn't match up. The people that are getting a lot of people, they're just telling more people. They're figuring out a way to tell more people. That's all. They're not letting fear get in their way. They're not letting judgment get in their way. They're not caring what anybody says. They're just doing it. All right? So if that's true for him, then it ought to be true for us. But once you understand this challenge group system, it's pretty simple, man. Get people started as challengers. Do a really great job. Here's what I do. I look for 5 people a month. Those 5 people, I want to be, that first 30 days, I want to be best friends with them. Okay? I'm a high touch, high relationship person, right? I want to be just texting them, you know, once a week or every few days. Hey man, how's it going? You know, how's it going? When I'm looking at them, every time I do that, I check in at least once a week. So Thursdays are a check-in day for me, right? And on Thursdays, I check in with them. Too often, I think with the challenge groups, we put people in a page and we think the page is going to babysit them, and we're not involved in their life personally on a personal level. And we can get further if we're personally involved. They said yes because of you, okay? And so when I check in with them, hey, how's it going? I'm looking for one of 3 things. I'm looking for them. They're either going to be totally off track. How many of you have challengers, or you have been at some point completely off track? You're not doing your workouts. You're eating pizza at night. You're running through Taco Bell. It's still sitting in the box, in the cellophane wrapper. They don't even know how to log into Beachbody On Demand yet, and they're 2 weeks in, right? Those people, I just want to restart them. I got to resell them on getting started. I want to start them on a start date. That's it. The second kind of person is people who are doing it, but they're not getting the results that they want yet. And this is where we have to do a really good job as coaches. First, the best thing you can do is learn how to manage their expectations. Okay? They want it in 14 days. They want it in 7 days. But that's not the whole program. They want the 21-day results without using the friggin' containers. They want, you see what I'm saying? They want P90X abs, but they only want to do P14. Right? They think it's a P14 program. They're idiots. We gotta help them manage their expectations. We gotta encourage them that they're doing a great job, and that if there's areas where they can get better, then we need to encourage them to get better at those areas. That we need to be brutally upfront and honest with them, right? And let them know. And here's the thing: 80% of the results come from what? Nutrition. What the hell are they putting in their mouth? That's 80% of the results, right? So chances are, if they're not getting results, they're screwing up the food side. They're not drinking Shakeology. They're not following the containers. They're not, following the plan, all right? The third person is someone who's a believer, someone like you guys who got to the point where you were a believer, you were all in. Those are the people we want to get coaching in front of. And understand something, very few of them are going to say yes the first time you put it in front of them. It's like fishing. You know, if I were to bait the hook and cast my rod out there and reel it in, when do you ever catch a fish on the first cast? You don't, right? Why would you think you're going to catch people the first time you put the bait in front of them? Does that make sense? So you got to, I mean, you might have to cast 100 times. I don't know how many times, but you got to keep casting. That's all. All right. Number two, the number two thing I wanted to talk about tonight. That was number one. I got 5. Number 2 is this: finding your niche. Okay, I once heard Trina Gray say this, because Trina Gray, who's a 15-star diamond coach, she's a gym owner turned Beachbody coach she makes like $500,000 a year doing this. She said this: it's easier to go narrow and deep than wide and spread. Okay, and whenever you look at, that's why a lot of times people build a team, and when you look at their team, they all look like each other. They're the same age. You know what I'm saying? You attract what you are, kind of thing. Okay, so the first thing is this: you got to get good with who you are, where you've been, what you've been through, and go look for people that are similar, that come from. Okay, so you've got to determine what your niche is. For me, my niche was fat people and food addicts and local people, because I had strong local connections. I wasn't out there looking for the 24-year-old former cheerleaders. I would look like a pervert. I'm 40 and a husband. That probably wouldn't fly too well. Does that make sense? So stop thinking that you have to go for a specific type of person. Go after the people that you honestly connect with. And then learn to build your social media audience, like add friends from that category. You know, if I'm going to look for local people, when I'm on Facebook, I'm going to add people that live locally. If I'm going to go for, let's say, moms, I'm going to add moms to my Facebook. And then what I talk about on Facebook is going to be directly related to them. And here's why they say yes. It's not because of the glitz and glamour. It's because they connect with the parts of you that used to struggle. That's why they say, people don't say yes unless there's a need. That need could be weight. That need could be money. That need could be a social life. That need could be getting themselves back. You know, they're moms and they're at home and the kids are driving them crazy. The husband's never around and they feel like the weight of the world's on their shoulder and they've lost themselves. And maybe as a mom, you started finding yourself again when you started working out and drinking shakes and started making friends, right? A lot of people say yes. 80% of people say yes to what we do because of the social aspect of it. Are you showing that to them? Are you showing the friends that you're making? Are you showing the people that you're surrounded with, right? And are you talking about how where you used to be isn't as good as where you're at now? Because what they want to know is this. Write this down. Here's how I'm going to give you my easy steps. This is promotion 101. This is how you promote. This is any promotion, okay? Anytime that you want to make an impact, whether it's from stage, whether it's on your media posts. Number 1, identify your audience. Who is your audience? Number 2, identify the problems that audience has. Right? What are the issues? Because here's the thing: if they don't have a problem, they got no reason to say yes. Everything's good. So they don't say yes because they say yes because they have a problem. We solve it. Now they say yes. Number 2 is identify their problems. What is it that they might be struggling with? Which is going to require you to get very open, authentic, and transparent about your problem that you have that you no longer have because of Beachbody, right? I used to be broke. I used to not have any room on my credit card. Now everything's paid in cash. Problem solved. Does that make sense? What was the connector? Beachbody. The ability to make money from home, working part-time, helping other people in health and fitness, right? Okay. Number 3 is present the solution. That solution either being Beachbody on the fitness side or Beachbody on the coaching side. How did Beachbody solve those same problems for you or for someone you know? Okay? This is often where you can include your story. Is in the solution side. Let me explain how Beachbody solved these same problems for me. Or let me talk to you about how they solved these same problems for Joey, my brother, right? Number 4 is a call to action. You have to ask them to do something. You have to ask them, whether it's send me a message, whether it's drop your email in the comments, whether it's get on the phone with me and let's do a call. There has to be a call to action. That's the last thing. What direction are you going to take them? Okay? But if I'm gonna, so I want you to understand this concept. All right? This is how a lot of the big coaches that are making a lot of money and helping a lot of people are doing it. They find their niche. Tara Carr was a military mom. She's a military spouse and a mom. Her whole team is military wives and moms. That's it. She went onto Facebook and she went into military mom groups and military spouse groups, and she went and found a whole bunch of people from all over the world that were just like her in those 2 categories. And she made friends with them, and she added them to her Facebook, and she got them to follow her, and she started talking about how Beachbody has helped their military family, right? You guys understand that? So who is it that you want to connect with? What do they look like? What problems do they have? And then how can I find those people? Versus going on Facebook and going through the news feed and just clicking like on everyone's Beachbody stuff and feeling like you did some work, but you really didn't. All you did was socialize with people who are already in. Our job isn't to socialize with each other. Our job is to go out in the world and spread the word and bring them into our circle and believe that they're better off in our circle than they are in the crappy circle they're in life. Right? How many of you would agree? How many of you would agree with me this? That people are best served when they're under our influence, man. They get introduced to personal development. They have the opportunity to make money. They're getting healthier. They're feeling better. How many of you know that our network is a great freaking thing that people need and that they're not getting elsewhere, right? That's why you're a part of it. So how many other people just like you might feel the same way? Go find them. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Number 3, events. Okay, events. And this is one that because I know there's a lot of you, and I used to be the same way, that you look at the cost of an airline ticket and the cost of a hotel room, and you're like, I can't afford it. How many of you have said that? And just be honest. Raise your hands if you said that. I've said it before. I really can't afford that right now. It's too expensive right now, right? Here's the thing, okay? Skin in the game matters. Because if you're putting skin in the game, you're more likely, that's the first thing, skin in the game matters. So when you invest in getting to an event, okay, you're going to be more likely to work harder to get that money back. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is this. You never know what 5-minute conversation is going to completely change your life and change your business and change the lives of those around you. You don't know. I'll give you an example. There was a guy, David Atkins, who's now an elite coach, and Patrick might know him. But David, 2 years ago at Summit, came up to me in the hallway and said, Tommy, can I just get 5 minutes of your time, right? And we had this conversation. And he really wanted to do this thing. He's a cop from New Jersey. His wife is a teacher. He really had a vision for wanting to do something with it, and he felt like he was, but what he didn't want to do was take complete ownership of his team. And so I just encouraged, I said, look, dude, I'll be, and this is where being brutally honest and truthful and putting the mirror in people's face. I call it putting the mirror in their face. You got to put the mirror in their face and show them where they're going wrong. So I said, look, you can't have $1 million dream without being all in. You're never going to get there. Right? So until you take complete ownership, your dream of making $3,000 a week, because you need $3,000 a week to leave your job, you're never going to get there. And I would be lying to you to tell you any different. So until you drop the crap and take complete ownership from you down, see, here's the thing. The only thing that matters is from you down, right? How many of you were grown up and you no longer live in mommy and daddy's house? Okay, right? Okay, so some of y'all, you've been camping out in daddy's house way too freaking long. It's time for you to go own your shit. You know what I mean? I'll just be honest with you. It's time for you to grow up, pull up your big boy underwear, and get to work. Okay, because you want, but what do you do, right? Does that make sense? Like, I want, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to make this, I want to do that, but what are you doing to get there? That's all that matters. The only thing that matters is, are you willing to put the blinders on and take ownership and go out there and drop your friggin' bullcrap excuses and get to work and go help people and find your niche and build your following and get people in? Because at the end of the day, this network isn't going to stop. Somebody's going to grow. Somebody's going to succeed. Why not you? Why not you? You're every bit as capable as what I am. Why not you, right? But I got to tell you, I've never seen a coach make it to an elite level or a $2,000 a week paycheck without going to events. You show me one coach in this network that's had great success that didn't invest in getting to events, and I'll quit. I'll give up my thousands of dollars a week because it hasn't happened. So if every successful coach that I've known for 8 years was getting to events, if you have a dream of being successful, guess what that means. If you're not getting to events, guess what? It ain't going to happen. You're kidding yourself, right? So book the freaking ticket. Get over your excuse because it's not going to happen. There's a reason why there's a correlation. 100% of every 5-star diamond and up coach attends events every time. They're at Summit every time. They're at Super Saturday every time. They're on every friggin' national wake-up call. They're in, right? It's hard. You can't get great success when you're, okay, how many of you have been in front of a cold swimming pool and you know you want to go in, and how many of you know it's best just to dive in from the get-go and not tiptoe, right? But how many of you with Beachbody, you say you're all in, but you're tiptoeing and you're barely touching it, and it's kind of, right? And that's just the truth. Listen, I don't get paid a dime for your success. So I got no reason to lie to you. I got no reason to sugarcoat it. I got no reason to blow sunshine up your tails. Right? Half of y'all probably won't be here a month from now anyway. Okay? I'm probably not talking to you. I'm going to talk to the people that are going to be all in. Because I know this, if there's 96 people on this call, if 10% of you get it, that's 10 new leaders for this network. That means this mission is going forward. That means some ass is getting kicked, and it's a good day. Right? Everybody understand that? So, bottom line is this. Summit's what, 2 months away? And you don't have your ticket. Why not? I don't even want to hear why not. That's just an excuse, right? Sleep on a floor, sleep in your car. I don't care what it takes. Sell your Xbox. There's enough money sitting in your video game cabinet right there that if you just sold that crap, and that's not going to pay you a dime ever. That's not going to change anybody's life, right? You guys understand what I'm saying? All right. Number 4, personal development. This took me a long time to go, okay, I'm going to do that personal development stuff. It took me a long time to get to the point. Here's why. I thought I was good. I really did. I thought I was okay. I thought I was good with people. I thought I knew business. I thought I was good with money. But the reality was I wasn't. How many of you agree that on the fitness side, what you put in your mouth matters? How many of you would agree with that? That if you feed crap in your mouth, you feel like crap, look like crap most of the time, right? And until you start putting healthy stuff in your pie hole, you're not going to get the results. Until you start eating healthy, you're not going to be healthy, right? Does that make sense? Well, here's the news flash is this. It's not just what you put in your mouth that matters. What you put in your mouth gets you the physical results that you desire, but what you put in your eyes and ears, that's what you're feeding your mind and your soul, right? So what you decide to put through your eyes, what you decide to put in your ears, makes a difference on who you are internally. And I will, and listen to me, who you become internally is who you're going to attract. That's who's going to join your team. That's who's going to ask for your help. That's who's going to lock arms with you, okay? So it does no good to be super fit physically if you got crap thinking and a crap attitude, right? Okay, so what you put in your eyes and ears matters. It's who you become. It's fitness for your insides. It's fitness for how you go about your day. And let me tell you something. The light that exudes from within is what attracts people. That's what gets trust. It's not just looking good in a bikini or having muscles. It's who you are. So if we spend all this time doing push-ups and lunges and Insanity Max 30 so that we look better physically, doesn't it make sense to spend that same 30 minutes a day doing fitness for our insides, right? It makes complete sense. And once that clicked with me, because here's what I knew about fitness. I knew that if I actually did that 30 minutes a day or an hour a day, and I followed a program and I actually bought in and I did it, that I would get results. Well, here's the thing. The great thing about this business is this. It's a direct reflection of who you are. And no matter where you think you deserve to be, you're at exactly where you've earned your way to. That's just the truth, right? Your rank, your income, all of that is a direct reflection of you, nobody else. Nobody else can take ownership, nobody else to blame, nobody else to give credit to. It's who you are. So if who you are is going to reflect in your paycheck, and I promise you it will, I promise you the more personal development you do, followed by action, right? Consistently over time, right? Do the work consistently over time. That's going to reflect in your paycheck. It's going to reflect in your rank. It's going to reflect in who you are. All right. If I were to give you, here's the thing. There's several areas that people need personal development in. Okay. We are in a people business. How many of you know that without people, you can't earn a dime, right? Okay. Without people, you can't earn a dime. So probably the best thing that you can do is invest in your people skills. It's probably the best thing that you can do. Start with a book like How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, it's old, but there's a lot of truth in that. Listen to the audio, okay? Or, stop listening to the country radio station and put How to Win Friends and Influence into your CD player in your car on your commute. I do that every time that I drive the 30 minutes to football. I'm listening to something like that, okay? People skills. The best place personally that I ever learned people and leadership skills was through Danny Johnson, okay? Some people love her, some people hate her. She's been a great influence on me and many people that I know. And that's a live seminar. She's actually has one coming up, I think, in 3 weeks in Orlando, Florida. Get there if you want. But I learned more people skills in her seminars than anywhere, right? Second area would be leadership. There's a reason why I put people skills before leadership. Okay? Here's why. If you don't have people, you can't lead. It's pretty simple. So I don't know why the hell all these people are investing time in John Maxwell stuff. I love John Maxwell stuff, but get better with people first and then learn how to lead them. You got to get better at connecting with them and finding them and then become a leader of them. Does that make sense? So some of the best leadership stuff, I love John Maxwell stuff. 21 Laws of Leadership is great. That was something that I started with. You could pick up any John Maxwell stuff, and I truly believe in that. If you're a sports guy, Mentor Leader by Tony Dungy, who was the former football coach for the Indianapolis Colts, is about mentor leadership, all right? And I fully believe in that method of leadership. Personal development. If you suck with time, how many of you suck with time? Like right now, that's the one thing holding you back is you want to do it, but you're kind of sporadic. You don't have a game plan, right? Does that make sense? Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy is great on time management. Go through Chalene Johnson's her 30-day push challenge, which is a free thing that you can do from Chalene. I think it's like 30daypush.com or something like that, okay? And that teaches you about goal setting and time management type skills. But the one thing I'm going to tell you right now is this. What I see with most coaches are this. They're waiting for their leaders to tell them they're going to do something instead of just identifying it themselves and going at it. Does that make sense? Like they're waiting for the leader to say, hey, we're going to read 21 Laws of Leadership. Listen, this is your business. You own it. Nobody else does. You're going to get what you put in, okay? But there's a reason why personal development is one of the 3 vital behaviors. The word vital means without it, you die, right? So if all the most successful people are bought into the concept of personal development, again, They're bought into events. They're bought into the challenge system. They're bought into Shakeology. They're bought into personal development. If the people listen, success leaves clues. And we've made it really simple in this network. Success leaves clues. So if the successful people are doing that, don't you think you should too? Right? So people skills, leadership skills, time management. Okay? You know, those would be the three biggies that I think that you as far as what will impact your business as a coach. There's a lot of other stuff that you could do as well. So, but listen, this is the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is this. I want you guys to understand something because you guys are here at a friggin' awesome time. I've been around for a while. I've been around for 8 years. And I got to tell you that where this network is going right now, the growth that we've had, but the thing is this, where we're going is so it's mind blowing how big we can be. We're at 285,000 coaches, right? We're at 1.2 billion. I just heard Carl last week on the national call talk about his vision, and his vision is 10 billion over the globally, which means we're only 10% there, right? We're 10% there. We're 10% to his current vision. And the one thing I know about Carl is this. If he has a vision, come hell or high water, it's going to get created. Okay? So if we're looking at, over the next 5 to 10 years, $9 billion worth of growth globally, what part of that are you going to be responsible for? What part of that? If we need to get to 2 million coaches and we're 10% there, what part of the next 1.8 million coaches do you want to have on your team? What percentage of that can you create? Because you don't need the whole thing. Does that make sense? But you're here at a time when we have a company that pushes the envelope, okay? They pushed it with P90X. People told Carl he was friggin' nuts when he came out with P90X and Insanity. He's like, they're too hard. Nobody will do them, blah, 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 blah. You'll never sell them. They invested $1 million in P90X. And the program has sold 400 or 500 million over the last 10 years, right? You guys understand that? And he was told he was an idiot for going that route, all right? They took a risk with Shakeology. They said nobody will ever pay $4 a day for a shake. Yet here we are, drinking like 5 a day, pooping like 6 times a day because we're drinking 5 shakes a day, right? Right? So you know, people doubted him with Beachbody On Demand. And listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm all in on this Beachbody On Demand thing. Holy crap, what an amazing thing. And what a blessing for all of us that are here right now. I don't care if you're brand new or not. This is because here's the thing. It used to be people bought a DVD set, you get paid one time, right? And they had one workout program. Now, people get access to 8 minimally workout programs, and they pay a monthly quarter, right? So people who doubt this Beachbody On Demand thing, I'm looking at them like, did you not hear about Netflix and what happened to Blockbuster? Right? I mean, let's think about this. Netflix took out Blockbuster with the same concept, streaming, right? I don't know. It's better for the clients because they get to pay in installments. So there goes the whole 3-pay deal, you know, right? All of us are like, well, this is unfair. They get the 3-pay option. Well, screw it. We'll give it to them through Beachbody On Demand. They can pay 4 times throughout the year and get more programming. And we get a chunk of that every time they pay. Subscription, right? It takes our fitness, and 1, they get more fitness. 2, they can use it anywhere. 3, it chunks up their payments. 4 is they're on a subscription that they're less likely to cancel, which means we're getting paid every 3 months, every 3 months, every 3 months, every 3 months. How many of you would like to sell something today that every 3 months you're getting $20 for, right? Every 3 months, Uncle Carl throws you 20, says, hey, thanks for mentioning that to that guy 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Thanks, right? He's still paying his subscription. Okay? So, you know, I guess my point is this. I would hate for any of you to think that you got into this too late, to think that it's already so big that everybody knows about it, because that's not true. The fact is, where we're going is really freaking exciting, and any one of you are capable of having any percentage of that you want, right? You're here at a great time, at a very exciting time. We have programs at work. We have Beachbody On Demand coming out, okay? The company's starting to talk about global expansion. You've got enough people in yards to do something great with this, okay? And so don't sell yourself short. Don't let the excuse that you're in too late or that you're in a dead spot or that nobody's helping you be your excuse. Okay, take ownership for your life, take ownership for your business, go help as many people as you can. Believe in what we do because the world needs it. And that's all I got to say. So guys, thank you for your time. I appreciate you having me right on time, 9 o'clock. I know I kept you for an hour. So
no, that was awesome. Thank you so much. We know you have family over and stuff, so we don't want to keep you, but I'm going to let Pat end the call. So thanks again for getting on. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
My man, thank you. Next time I see Carl, I'm just going to give him a big hug after that one. We were just funny. We were on the Diamond call right before this for like a half hour before talking about we should do a call about like trying to get people to go to events. I think he took care of that for us.
Well, I mean, you know, and here's the thing, man. I know people got bills to pay and all that stuff, you know, but I mean, if I could tell you that if it costs you $1,000 to get to the event, but it will up your income by 10 grand this year, would you do it? Right? You know, and I strongly believe that. I really believe that if you go to this event, going is not enough, right? But if you go to the event and you really take advantage of not just what's in the sessions on stage, but it's the hallway time, what I call hallway time. It's the 10-minute hallway conversations or the sitting around the table having these drink conversations that will really change, right? Or going up to one of these top leaders that you've seen through social media or that you've heard on a national wake-up call and having a 5-minute discussion, just hearing how they think, hearing what they do. You become what you surround yourself with, right? You're a reflection of, right? So here's my thing. If I want to be a good Beachbody coach, wouldn't it make sense for me to go where every good Beachbody coach is and get surrounded by it? Right? Doesn't that make sense? Right? So when I hear people say, I can't afford to go, I sit there and go, oh, you don't get this, man. You can't afford not to. If this is something you want to do, you can't afford not to be at Super Saturday. You can't afford not to be at Summit. You can't afford not to qualify for the Success Club trips because those trips will change your life. There's no way that I would have the team I have or the income I have if I didn't make that investment and get to those events. You know, there's no way, no way. And every top dog in this network that I've talked to can all pinpoint their life, their business changed at a specific event. They can go back to that time and say, it was because I was at this Super Saturday, because I was at this summit, right? When it clicked. You can't have a light bulb moment if you're not in the house, right? You just can't. So even if all that happens after tonight is that there's one person on this call that's been on the fence about getting to Summit or whatever, and you just make the commitment, listen, when you get there, if you see me, run up, give me a high five, give me a big smile, let me know. You know what I mean? I want to know what happens between now and then, and I want to know what happens after that. That guy, David, that got 5 minutes in the hall, went from 50 coaches to 900 coaches. He messages me in 18 months, from 50 coaches to 900 coaches, okay? 5-star diamond, elite, okay? He messages me like a month ago, and we had a big week, and he messages me, he goes, brother, my family just made over $3,000. He wasn't even making like $150 when I met him. And it was, and he messages me like monthly and says, I can't thank you enough. And I'm like, dude, all I did was tell you to own it. I gave you 5 minutes. So, and I'm not saying that it has to be a conversation with me. I don't know where that conversation can take place, but what I know is this, you can't have it if you're not there. Right? You can't have it if you're not there. So, anyway, man, obviously I'm on board with I'd love for all of you guys to get there. So.
Cool, man.
Well, I just want to follow that up really quick because I know a lot of people were saying how much that they love hearing you and how inspirational you are in the chat. So imagine going to a live event and seeing him talk to you in your face. He's way louder and crazier, and so it's definitely worth it. It's different than the national wake-up calls. It's different than these calls. It's like
Can I say something? Okay. And listen, I fully believe that we all need to be on the national wake-up calls, but you guys get the watered down version on those things, right? You know what I mean? You get the water. You got to understand something on those national calls. I mean, you know, they really try to guide you. You only get 20 minutes to talk, and you really can't get too deep in 20 minutes, and you can't see the people you're talking to. And 80% of communication is body language, right? You know, and so you're getting, you know, you kind of get the water. You will get much different information having a live conversation around a table than you will on those wake-up calls. okay? You can get good information on the wake-up calls. I'm not saying that's bad information, but I'm saying, you know, I mean, it's like buying the cheap vodka, the 40 proof stuff, when you could have the 100 proof stuff, you know, when you can get the real stuff. You know what I mean? Like, why go 40 proof when you can go 151?
There's no doubt in my mind if I hadn't gotten to that first event that I went to, I'd still be in a cubicle working, you know, 50, 60 hours a week grinding. And it wasn't
I'd still be miserable selling auto insurance. I mean, I would, you know? So. Yeah.
And it wasn't as much the presentations at the events. It was those 5-minute conversations in the hall. Right. Or, you know, that 5-minute conversations at 2 a.m., you know?
Dude, you could go and just do the hallway time, and you're going to be blown away. I mean, you'll come out of that a changed person.
Yeah.
You know, really will. So I'm glad you had that experience, because now you can share that with other people and encourage them to do the same thing. But sometimes, you know, and this is what's funny, okay, and write this down. There's power to third-party voice, okay? So what you know, and here's the thing. Here's Patrick and here's Sarah, right? And they're sharing their stories, but because you guys know them, you might be less likely to listen to them. How many of you agree? Like you were less likely to do what mom and dad told you to, but if Uncle Eddie told you, you were all on it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the same. So one of the best things that we can do as coaches to help people grow is not be the one to get the credit for them growing, right? Which means that I guarantee there's some of you that because Tommy got on tonight's call and said, get your ass to Summit, you'll go, where Patrick could have said it 100 times. And it doesn't mean that Patrick's bad. It just means that he's daddy and you're less likely to listen to him, right? But the third party comes on, okay? Does that make sense? So that's part of the reason why you don't just want to go. You want to get your people to go, because now they get all this third party influence, and that's where the magic happens, right? So there's power to third-party voice. What that means is it can't always come directly from you. Too many of us want to be the person trying to make the direct impact versus allowing the third-party events, third-party videos, third-party another person on your team be the story that relates to these people and gets them to take action. So, all right.
Boom. All right, man. We got a funny way of saying thank you for being on our call. So I'm gonna let everybody and then we'll let you go. There's a bunch of us meeting up on Saturday in Del Rey. I don't know if you can make it. I think Kelly and Marissa are gonna be there, so okay. We'll be in touch.
I live like 30 minutes from Patrick, by the way, now. I live in Fort Lauderdale. I never thought
I'd come down, but I don't have a car. I just got my bike. You got to come up to Del Rey on Saturday, hang out with us.
All right, man. Yeah, well, send me a Facebook message about it.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, guys, on 3, and then we're out of here. Thanks again, Tom. You're the man. 1, 2, 3. Boom! Team Boom.
I got you. All right. Yo, man, I appreciate it.
Get to Summit.
Yeah. I guess we don't need that events call anymore. I'm gonna snip that. I'll post the full recording, and then I'll take that snip of the event section, and I'll make a YouTube video just of that, so we can get that out to our teams. Because honestly, that was such a huge part of 2013 when we were trying to make this thing really take off from just a hobby to like a business, was just scratching and clawing, doing everything possible to get as many coaches to Summit as we possibly could. And we had 25 coaches from Team Boom that went to Summit in 2013, and literally our Team Boom exploded coming out of that point when T25 came out and Vanilla Shakeology. But mostly it was that belief was at a whole other level when we left Summit, and Team Boom just took it to a whole other level because of that. So obviously you guys are on this call. You guys are going to be at Summit, but it's more important now to get this out, get this video out to the coaches that couldn't get on, especially that I'll take that snippet of the event section that Tommy talked about and get that thing out to people. And do whatever you can to get them at the event, because that's really where the magic happens. Cool?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and Sarah, thank you so much for doing that. I know you had to do all the work to get him on the call. I'm sure that wasn't an easy thing because I'm sure everyone.
Follow-ups. It only took me 3 or 4 months to get him on.
Yeah, there you go. That was awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And congratulations again on Diamond.
Thank
Boom.
you.
Killing it. Love it. Awesome.
See you in Cancun.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in Cancun next week. There still is going to be a call next week on Wednesday. So make sure you guys are on that. All right? Boom. Later, guys.